Yeah.
Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. You gotta love rivalries in bowl games. That's exactly what we've got in the Mayo Bowl as North Carolina takes on South Carolina in Charlotte. And guys, this is a matchup between two teams that have had very surprising seasons just for different reasons. North Carolina, they were a top 10 team to start the season. A top 10 team to start the season, but finished the year at 6-6. One of the bigger disappointments in all of college football this year. South Carolina, they entered year one under brand new head coach Shane Beamer. Expectations were not very high, but he pulled off a handful of upsets, including one over Florida, another over Auburn, and got the Gamecocks to a bowl game right at 6-6. He just landed Spencer Rattler in the transfer portal. Things are trending up for Beamer in Columbia. The question is, can he carry some momentum into next season with a win over their rival in North Carolina? That is what we're going to tell you right now, guys. So again, welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, ready to predict and tell you everything you need to know about this Mayo Bowl between the Tar Heels and the Gamecocks. As always, make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and check out everything down in the description below. If you want the spread pick for this Mayo Bowl between North Carolina and South Carolina, if you want the spread pick for every single college football bowl game and every single NFL playoff game, you go over to thegridironexpert.com right now and sign up for those expert picks. One of the lowest prices in the country for one of the best marks in the entire country. It's a deal, an offer you're not going to find anywhere else, and it's a year-long subscription. So you sign up now, and you get it all the way through 2022. So make sure to take advantage of that, guys. Go join our team today and start winning with us today only on the gridironexpert.com. So let's take a look at this Mayo Bowl. Let's start on offense, and we'll start with North Carolina. They are the designated visiting team. North Carolina, the big news for them is that Sam Howell will play. You know, there was speculation that he might opt out, just like many other players have in preparation for the NFL draft. Howell is playing. And Howell's had a mediocre season. Everybody thought he could be a Heisman contender, might lead North Carolina to the playoffs, might lead them to an ACC title. But instead, he only threw for 2,800 yards, 23 touchdowns, and just 9 interceptions. Has not had the year that many thought he would have. But he still led an offense that averaged 36.4 points per game, 260 passing yards per game, and about 220 rushing yards per game as well. Howell is still a dang good quarterback and has a cannon for an arm, and he has tons of talent surrounding him. He's got a guy in Ty Chandler at running back who's rushed for over 1,000 yards and 13 touchdowns, a major reason for those 220 rushing yards per game. You've got Josh Downs at wide receiver. Reception yards, over 1,200 and 8 touchdowns. Over 1,200 reception yards and 8 touchdowns. That trio, guys, of Howell, Chandler, and Downs is so difficult to stop. And yes, they have been stopped before, but we got to keep in mind that really the Achilles heel for North Carolina most of the season has been their defense, not necessarily their offense. And we'll touch on that in a second. When you look at South Carolina, their offense is light years different than UNC. Just across the board, style of play and statistically. The Gamecocks are only averaging 21.3 points per game, just 320.4 yards per game. Those aren't good marks. Not great marks. Yes, they've gotten to a bowl game. They got to 6 wins, but those are not great marks. And who's going to be their quarterback in this Mayo Bowl? That's the million-dollar question. It's none other than Zeb Noland. He is getting the nod at quarterback. He's been one of the better stories of this entire college football season. You know, a guy who started off at Iowa State, transferred to North Dakota State last year, did not do very well there, came out to South Carolina, was a graduate assistant with South Carolina, got the nod, got them the win over Vanderbilt. Now he's going to be starting in this bowl game against North Carolina. So what a roller coaster of a career it's been for Zeb Noland. We can only hope that he plays well. Only hope for the best for him in this Mayo Bowl against North Carolina. The beauty of all that, guys, is Zeb Noland's getting his shot, and South Carolina might lean heavily on him because they're going to be without their leading rusher in Zaquandre White, who rushed over 580 yards this year. He's not playing in this game. Yes, the Gamecocks still have Kevin Harris right behind him, rushed over 400 yards this year, but Harris did not put up the type of numbers that we thought we'd see from him this year either. The Gamecocks are only averaging 122.7 rushing yards per game. So really for me, guys, the question is this. While the Gamecocks do want to run, but they want to stay balanced, maybe try to keep the ball out of Nolan's hands as much as possible, they're not going to be able to do that if they want to win this game. Can Zeb Nolan deliver? He delivered against Vanderbilt. Can he deliver now? The Gamecocks' passing game has been wildly inconsistent all year long. They've had quarterback questions all year long. And in the final game of the year, will Nolan be able to step up and give them a passing attack they have longed for but have yet to find? That is the million-dollar question. Defensively, North Carolina, not great. Like we said a second ago, the offense is fantastic. I wouldn't really put the blame on the offense for the reason that North Carolina struggled so much this season. I'd blame the defense. Tar Heels were allowing 31.6 points per game, 408.1 total yards per game. Breaking it down into deeper terms here, the major concern I have would have been the 237 passing yards per game allowed. But right now, I'm not that worried about South Carolina's passing attack. I wouldn't be too worried about Zeb Nolan and the Gamecocks' passing attack. What I am worried about more than anything is the fact that the Tar Heels are giving up over 170 rushing yards per game, and South Carolina can exploit that. South Carolina can exploit that. Listen to these numbers, guys. UNC gave up 113 rushing yards to NC State, 209 to Wofford, 217 to Wake Forest, 293 to Notre Dame, 157 to Miami. Yes, the Tar Heels went 3-2 in those games that I just mentioned, so it is possible to let up a ridiculous amount of rushing yards and still win the game, but obviously you don't want to put yourself in that situation. South Carolina can exploit that poor rushing defense. It's just a matter of can they run to set up the pass. When they set up the pass, can Zeb Nolan deliver? If I'm North Carolina, the key is stopping the run game, honing in on the run game, and forcing Zeb Nolan to win this game through the air from start to finish. That's what Mack Brown and the Tar Heels have to do if they want to come away with a win here. When you look at South Carolina, they're going to be without another key player. So they're already without their leading rusher, and then they're going to be without Kingsley Enagbare. They're going to be without him on that defensive line. 44 tackles, 4.5 sacks, led the team. So you got a big-time rusher that's going to be gone, which means Sam Howell's going to have a little bit more time to throw the ball. Not as under as much pressure with Enagbare being out of this game. South Carolina defensively not horrible, gave up 24.3 points per game, but like North Carolina, they can't stop the run to save their life. South Carolina has allowed 179 rushing yards per game. Remember, UNC is averaging about 220 rushing yards per game. Ty Chandler and this very fast-paced, electric North Carolina offense can exploit this South Carolina rushing defense easily and maybe give Sam Howell the day off in the Mayo Bowl. And again, look at some of the numbers that South Carolina has allowed. They were shut out in their loss to Clemson, where they allowed 265 rushing yards to the Tigers. They allowed 191 rushing yards to Auburn, 258 to Missouri, 290 to Texas A&M, 247 to Tennessee. It's very bad. And yes, South Carolina won a few of those games. They beat Auburn. They did beat Auburn with 191 yards. They hung in a handful of those games, hung in the game against Missouri. Had respectable showings in others. But at the end of the day, the rushing defense isn't there. And North Carolina will be able to exploit that. The secondary is going to be what's going to have to step up. The secondary is what's going to have to step up because I don't have faith in South Carolina being able to stop the run, right? I don't really have faith in that. So the secondary is going to have to come through and make some plays. Pick off Sam Howell once or twice. Create a little pressure on Sam Howell. Get a couple stops through the air. That's what you've got to do. Obviously, if you're South Carolina, you would love it if you could force it just like UNC is going to do it. Force UNC to win the game through the air. But when it comes down to who owns that quarterback edge, it's definitely Sam Howell over Zeb Nolan. So you kind of picked up kind of a lot of things that we just talked about here for this Mayo Bowl, kind of understand what direction we're going in terms of our pick. I don't think it's any surprise that we're going to go with North Carolina here, and rightfully so. But I will say this. I absolutely love this matchup. I love that it's a rivalry game. In Charlotte, of all places, of course. Right there where both fans can easily travel and create a great, great atmosphere. A few years ago in the season opener, we saw North Carolina face South Carolina in what was an instant classic. It was a bit of an upset win for North Carolina. Can we see another instant classic? Will South Carolina get their revenge in an upset win now over North Carolina? I think it's close for a while, but I think ultimately UNC just wears down that South Carolina defense. And the Tar Heels find a way to take down Shane Beamer and the Gamecocks. And what's been an unbelievable year for him was shaping up to be an unbelievable 2022 for him. But the Tar Heels get the best of their border rival. They get the best of South Carolina. Finished the year at 7-6. Not the year the Tar Heels fans were hoping for, but to end your year with a bowl victory over a rival, yeah, I guess you'll take that. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos. Of course, check out everything down in the description below as well, including, guys, those expert picks over on thegridironexpert.com. If you want the spread pick for this Mayo Bowl, if you want the spread pick for every other college football bowl game, if you want the spread pick for every single NFL playoff game, and you want spread picks that are going to deliver, spread picks that are going to win for you, thegridironexpert.com is the place to be. It's a year-long subscription, a one-time, low fee. Not going to find something like that anywhere else. Take advantage of it and join our team today. The link, again, down in the description. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.